Good morning. Welcome to King's Report News Hour, the eighth day in the ninth month, 16th year of Chungi. Tim Elder sitting in for the second king of Chungi, Kyung Ji-moon. Let's take our usual sojourn around the kingdom right now in Chongpyeong, Tennessee. It looks like it's raining there, 51 degrees, and the rain is going to last for at least 60 minutes, it says here. Today, cooler with periods of rain. Rain can lead to poor visibility and slow travel during the morning commute, and the high is 51, which is what it is right now. So it's all downhill from here, I guess, but not that much. It's a very uh, gentle downhill because the low tonight is 48, only 3 degrees difference from what it is now. Cloudy with occasional rain and drizzle tonight. Father's hometown, Cheongju, North Korea, North Pyongan Province, what is today North Korea, it is 33 degrees right now and clear, clear and cold tonight, low of 22. So getting down there below freezing. And tomorrow, sun yielding to clouds and chilly, high of 50. Northeast Pennsylvania at the Cheongguk Palace, currently 27, also below freezing. Times of cloud and sun, high today of 56, tonight clear and low of 31. At the Liberty Rock RV Park and Campground in Limestone County, Texas, currently clear and 56, plenty of sunshine today, high of 82. Tonight clear, low of 65. And at the Cheongguk Palace in Korea, the Suncheon Palace in Korea, it is clear and 45. Sorry, not the Cheongguk Palace, just the regular palace in Korea. Clear and 45 tonight, getting down to 39. Tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, high of 60. At the Gunma Palaces in Japan, 62 and mostly clear right now. And getting down to 49 tonight under clear skies. Tomorrow, sunny and high of 69. And in Guangzhou, Guangdong Province, cloudy and 72. And getting down to, I have to update this after the hour. 72 is correct. And tonight, low of 68. And then tomorrow, mostly cloudy and a high of 84. All right. And by the way, Canada and the UK, I believe, are now on the standard time as opposed to the summer daylight saving time. And but in the US is going to go one more week on the daylight saving time, and so uh, that's so standard time begins next week. And so we will continue to do this broadcast from 7 to 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Yes, 7 to 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Whatever time they decide that will be. The government just decides, whoop, put your clocks back, whoop, forward, whoop, back, whoop, forward, whoop, back. All right. Yeah, their days are numbered, trust me. Okay. Okay. All right. It says here, where are we? We're in the book on true parents in chapter 8. Chapter 8 is titled The Three Subject Partner Thought and the True Parent Declaration. And we're in a rather long speech here. This is section 4. Section 4, which is section 4.2, it looks like, right? Okay. Section 4.2 is titled The Power of the True Parents Photograph, right? And these days we use the three-generation kingship photograph, and I have one right up there in front of me here. But and also in my wallet, I have what do I have in my wallet? Let's check to see what I have in my wallet. Okay, well, I have this one. I have this one. Okay, you're right. That's the king and the third king, second king and third king, with the two queens bowing before the second and third king. Okay. Then I have this one, true father with the second king and queen bowing. Yeah, that seems to be it. I guess I have those two. Here I have on the other side. I have this second king and queen there. What's on the other side here? Okay, here we have on the other side of this, I have a father and true mother. Okay. Anyway, so I mean, different people have different stuff, and there's no obviously there's no rule as to what you have to have or anything like that. But this just happens to be what I have. I guess I've kind of collected these photographs over the years. Anyway, anyway, here, if you do these three things, and hold on, we'll tell you what the three things are. If you do these three things, you can do anything. The flag represents the Unification Church. The father is speaking here. When is he speaking? 1991. Okay. I'll talk about I think I've already talked about the Unification Church, but I'll talk about it again just in case somebody wasn't listening. The flag represents the Unification Church, and the photograph well, he says the photograph of father is what he says here, 1991. So the photograph of father, he says Sunzengnim. All right, so he's referring only to himself there. The photograph of father is the true parent. Ba, 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 ba. Next, the what did I say? The application to join, okay, is the registration. It means that a country where you can register will come into being. That is where the beginning takes place. All right. First of all, let's look at a couple of words there. First of all, when he says Unification Church, and I've talked about this before. I've noticed that some people in our faith community are saying, "Hey, we are no longer Unification Church." I beg to disagree. Actually, I strongly beg to disagree. So, and again, let's go over the history of this term, the Unification Church. It did not begin with Father. It began with the South Korean media. South Korean media in 1955, during the media coverage of the Ewha University incident. You can look that up. Ewha University incident. The year before, that was in 1955, and the year before, Father had started something called the Holy Spirit Association for the Unification of World Christianity, which is quite a mouthful. And the media said, we don't have enough ink. We don't have enough ink for all that. So they said, we're going to shorten that. We're going to call you the Tongryugyohe or Tongrykyo. Either one is okay. Meaning Unification Church. By the way, someone said that, Unification Church is not even considered a church in South Korea because they say Tongrykyo and not Tongrykyohue. Kyohue is church. Kyo just means teaching. But you know what? Methodist Church is often referred to as the Kamnikyo. The Presbyterian Church is often referred to as Changnokyo, and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, Baptist Church is Chimnegyo, and Lutheran Church is Lutogyo, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Songgyo-kyohe, actually, they don't use just the kyohe very much anyway. So other sort of established Christian denominations names are also abbreviated to kyo instead of kyohe in many instances. So that argument does not hold water. Anyway, just in case someone tries to slip that on you. So anyway, so the term Tongrykyohe comes from the South Korean media. All right, when they were attacking us. Well, Father adopted that. He adopted it. Just like, the word Methodist, where does that come from? Does it come from Methodists? No, it doesn't. It did not come from the Wesley brothers. It came from the people in the Anglican Church who were criticizing or attacking the Wesley brothers. They are Methodists. It was a term of derision, right? But eventually, the people in the Methodist Church said, "Okay, well, that sounds good. We'll call ourselves Methodists. Thank you very much." So, and also, Christian. Where does Christian come from? Does it come from Christians? No, it doesn't. it came from, in Antioch. Antioch is where the word Christian first began to be used. And people who were not Christian, okay, started referring to those people who were following Christ as Christians. So this happens often in the history of religion. So the Unification Church did not originate from Father. Father adopted it. So, well, in Father's use, okay, in Father's use, and then frankly in the use by the South Korean media as well, it means those people, okay, who um, uh, believe in true Father, who believe in Sun Myung Moon as the returning Jesus and follow his teachings. Okay, so who does that describe today? What describes the World Peace and Unification Sanctuary? there can be others too, right? We don't have a monopoly on that. We may not be the only, I think, we're not necessarily the only people who believe Father's the returning Jesus and follow his teachings. There are people who are sort of who have left the Family Federation and are still kind of in limbo and stuff like that. They say, yeah, I know, I believe Father's the returning Jesus. Yeah, I try to do my best to follow Father's teachings, but sanctuary, the guns, the thing with True Mother, and I don't know about that. So, but anyway, so I'm not saying that we have a monopoly on that term, but yeah, Unification Church does describe World Peace and Unification Sanctuary. Does it describe the folks up in Chongpyeong here in Korea? No, it does not. Okay, it does not, and it bothers me intensely that the South Korean media are referring to them as Tongil-gyoe or Tongil-gyo or Unification Church. It bothers me a lot. And if I ever get interviewed by a South Korean journalist, I intend to make that point. Haven't had that opportunity yet. Okay, but perhaps God will give me that, or someone else. Maybe someone else would have an opportunity to say the same thing. So anyway, we are a Unification Church. So, but someone would say, well, wait a second. Father said to take down the signboard of the Unification Church. No. He said take down the signboard of the Holy Spirit Association for the Unification of World Christianity. Okay, that's different. That's an actual organization that Father started, and that name does come from Father. So it's separate from Unification Church. All right. Yes, because HSAUWC was founded to indemnify the failure of a Christianity to accept a true Father at the end of World War II. And over a 43-year course, or 40-year or 43-year course, it paid that indemnity and it accomplished that mission, it accomplished that indemnity restoration in 1997 or 1994, depending on how you're counting. And Father seems that he was counting it both ways. Anyway, in the 1990s, it completed its mission. So Father said, "Okay, that's it." And all, but Father also hope that you are familiar with this photograph. Do I have it quickly? I guess not. Okay, that's too bad. Okay. I guess not. Oh, wait. No, okay. Documents, videos. Okay, I guess I don't have it on this on gallery. Maybe here it is. Maybe it's just where I have it. Oh, anyway, it's going to take too much time, I guess. Okay. All right, I thought I had it. I guess I did. I guess I don't. All right. All right, so I had because Father wrote a calligraphy of Tongil-gyo for the Second King, and that was in 2011 or 12. I have to check the actual calligraphy too. I thought I had it on this computer, but I guess I don't. So anyway, so that Unification Church, okay. And then, of course, then Father says, then the photograph of Father is the true parent. Okay. And then it says, 그다음에 입회원서는 입족하는 것입니다. So the application to join. When I joined the Unification Church in 1974, I was actually handed a piece of paper. And at the top it said, application for joining or something like that. And I signed that. And who knows where that document is today? I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe it's somewhere in the bowels of the Family Federation files. Who knows? Anyway, so the father said that is registration. Of course, today registration is different, right? We have the registration blessing that Father has instructed the second king to perform the registration blessing. Right? Praise God, praise God, praise God, praise God for the word that He has given us this morning. All right, okay. So, Father said, if you have those three things, you can do anything. Well, I'm sure Father meant anything that God approves of. You can't do stuff that God does not approve of. Okay, so don't take that too literally. All right. Okay, let's see what's going on. All right, let's start with let's start with this one. Start with this one. Malay, in Argentina has always been an important sort of ideological ally and also sort of and when he was first elected, I said that whether he succeeds in Argentina or not is going to affect President Trump's situation, because if he fails, then people will say, "Aha, look, that kind of small government or drastic cutting of the budget doesn't work, and didn't work in Argentina. It's not going to work here." That kind of thing. Well, people of Argentina, despite some pretty drastic cuts, have actually come out in support of their president in a recent vote. He himself was not on the ballot, but this was kind of a midterm election for him. Let's look at this on the Epoch Times. Argentine President Javier Milei's party has won a decisive victory in Milei's first political test since his election in 2023. Early results show Milei's governing La Libertad Avanza party won 40.8% of the votes nationally in elections for the lower house of Congress, according to tallies in local media using numbers from electoral authorities. The results widely reported also show that his party won 6 of the 8 provinces that voted to renew a third of the Senate. In comparison, the results showed the left-leaning opposition, known as the Peronists, of Don't Cry for Me fame, winning 31.7% of the vote. Okay, let's not cry for them. Half of the seats in the Argentine National Congress, 127 in the lower house and 24 in the upper house, were up for grabs. The elections were high stakes for Milei, who has undertaken a vast libertarian agenda to cut regulations, government spending, and other state-heavy policies. But he's been a rather sort of a pragmatist as well, and he's gone to the World Economic Forum and he's tried to work with them. He's worked with the IMF and so forth. So he's not frothing at the mouth libertarian, but he certainly has been taking Argentina in a very different direction from the socialist Peronist, or shall we say socialist or statist, I think is the right way to describe the Peronists. These elections are seen by observers as the first referendum for Milei's shock therapy reforms and chainsaw economics. Milei's approach to governance has gained the support of U.S. President Donald Trump, whose administration has offered financial incentives to the country if it moves forward with its current policy trajectory. Milei's party, La Libertad Avanza, is only the second largest party in the legislature currently. Milei's primary rivals in the Peronist coalition went into the race with the largest number of seats. Even in the best case scenario for Milei, his party wouldn't be able to win a majority in Congress. However, winning at least 1/3 of the vote would be a positive development for the ruling government and stop legislative efforts by opposition lawmakers to overturn the president's vetoes. Through a wave of executive actions, the Milei administration has launched sweeping reforms that have reshaped Argentina's economic landscape from deep cuts in public spending to a dramatic downsizing of government institutions. While they fulfill his 2023 campaign promises, results from last month's provincial elections also reflected a sizable share of the public becoming frustrated with the government's cost-cutting measures. The victory could pay off financially for Argentina. Earlier this month, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent unveiled a $20 billion economic rescue package that aims to boost Argentina's foreign reserves and stabilize the peso during a cash crunch. The United States also purchased Argentine pesos from the markets, bringing the United States overall backing to $40 billion. However, Trump cautioned earlier this week that continued U.S. support will be contingent on an electoral outcome in the region's third largest economy. I'm with this man because his philosophy is correct, and he may win, he may not win, but I think he's going to win. And if he wins, we're staying with him. And if he doesn't win, we're gone, Trump told reporters during a bilateral meeting with Milei at the White House on October 14th. Because if a socialist wins, you'd feel a lot differently about making an investment. Bessent reiterated the president's sentiment, telling the press that reverting to Peronist policies would cause a rethink. And remember, in case you've forgotten, that Argentina was one of the 10 most affluent countries in the world about 100 years ago. And Argentina, where does the name Argentina come from? Well, it comes from the word for the Spanish word for silver. So it's got silver, and we've seen a lot of sort of silver, things made of silver, right, that come from that area of the world. So it's essentially not a poor country originally, but a lot of socialist policies over the decades have really run it into the ground, and Milei is trying to turn it around, and looks like he's having some success. Of course, there's been some pain, and people don't like pain. I mean, who likes pain, right? You have to be a pretty enlightened population to say, okay, we're going to delay gratification. We're going to delay our gratification. We're going to suffer pain now so that our children, our grandchildren can have an affluent country again, like our grandparents did or great grandparents did 100 years ago. It takes a pretty sophisticated population, and it looks like there are people in Argentina who do feel that way. A sizable portion, maybe 48.8% of the population, who do feel that way, which I think is really great. What about America, right? What about America? Right now, the government shutdown is going on, and it's approaching a full month. And we're starting to feel some real pain, right? Today, we got the news that some of the flights into Los Angeles International Airport were not able to fly. They had to stay at their points of origin for a while. It was temporary. It was for a few hours, but there weren't enough air traffic controllers in the Southern California for the planes to be able to fly. So that's one thing that happened today. And also, we're told that beginning November 1st, the government will not be able to put out food stamps. Now, I hope with the food stamps that private charities will step in. And in fact, if you know of a food bank in your area in the United States, you might even want to kind of chip in some way. You can figure out how you can best do that, but that might be a good idea. I hope this is going to be a process where people begin to understand that things can be done in the private sector, and perhaps they can be done in the private sector even better than what they're being done how they're being done in the by government. I want to show you something. Let's see. We know that the economic numbers in the U.S. have not been coming out, or some of them have not been coming out because of wait, something here. What, 28%? All right, let me see here. Okay, they want me to pay money now. I was looking at this earlier today. Anyway, look up something called Truflation, true TRU-flation, TRUFLATION. And since I was looking at this earlier today, it looks they're not showing me the same thing that they were showing me before. They want me to pay money, I think. 28 point. So this is a site that seems to give a better picture of the actual inflation. Okay. And this is 28.65%. Don't worry, this is not, yearly. This is compounded inflation rate since January of 2020. That's not what I was hoping to show you. I was hoping to show you their figure for the past month, which when I looked at it was actually 2.8% for the past year, 2.8% for the past year. And yeah, they want me to, yeah, they make money off of this. So, but hey, what can you say? If they do it accurately, well, year on year, okay, here we go. This is what I wanted to show you. 2.4, oh, look at that. Okay, 2.48%. Whereas the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the government is reporting 3.0%. Right? So 2.48%. This is the year on year change. But in this, they're updating it daily. The government puts it out once a month, and they're not even accurate. But this is probably far more accurate, and they're updating it daily. So anyway, this is another example of what's being done in the private sector. And I think the private sector can do a more accurate job, and they can do it daily, right? Yeah, and uh, we don't have to pay our taxes to the bureaucrats in the Bureau of Labor Statistics, whoever it is that makes these numbers. And there's really, in the case of this Truflation site, I don't think there's really much room for sort of political bias. But President Trump had to actually fire the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics because he felt that she was biased politically and had to put someone else in there. So I think this is another example of what's being done in the private sector. And they started quite a while ago, but it's getting more attention because of the government shutdown, which I think is a good thing. Right? And other areas as well, I think are going to be done more and more by the private sector, which is good. And President Trump is using this now to shrink the government as much as he can, which the Democrats think that they are going to be able to use this as leverage. In fact, they're calling it leverage for them. But we'll see. We'll see how that works out, right? Shall we look and see what the presidential daily presidential thing? 47%, okay, on Rasmussen, 47% of likely U.S. voters approve of President Trump's job performance, 51% disapprove. So he's within that band that he's been in pretty much since the beginning of his term, 47%. He's at the sort of the bottom end of that band right now. So I think Democrats are not really getting the results that they were hoping for. All right, so that is that. Let's go to, yeah, I have a couple of really bad stories here. Bad, I mean, bad news stories, right? Ah, boy. Popular social media influencer, Mr. Crafty Pants, charged with distributing child porn. And he was doing it on a site that is popular with young people that I had never heard of, and perhaps you haven't either. It's something called Kik, K-I-K. It's a messaging app that apparently is used by young kids. But these messaging apps, they come and go. Oh, how many of them are there? How can you possibly keep up with all of them? I guess you really have to see what apps are on your children's phones, right? Prolific influencer and YouTube video creator known as Mr. Crafty Pants has been charged by Kentucky authorities with nearly 30 counts of possessing and trading disturbing sexual images of children on a messenger app traditionally popular with teens. Traditionally, I mean, tradition? Okay. What does it go back, 50 years? I don't think so. Michael David Booth, who reportedly had nearly 500,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel and a couple 100,000 more on other social media, was arrested Wednesday for sharing explicit images of children on the messaging app Kik, according to numerous news reports. Okay, so okay, he lives he lives in Kentucky, northern Louisville community of North Commons. Okay, there and so forth. And prompted by a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children that a Kik account was sharing child porn images, police started their investigation in August. The account was linked to Booth's residence, according to a police arrest report. Kik is known for preserving users' anonymity, such as allowing users to register without the need to provide a telephone number or valid email address, but it is not encrypted and does log users' IP addresses by which they can be traced. However, Kik has also been the subject of controversy in the past as the result of its anonymity feature, allowing teens to feel comfortable sharing controversial and explicit content. So they feel comfortable. They think they're being anonymous because they haven't, given their telephone number or email address, but it's actually quite transparent to those who know how to trace IP addresses. Okay. Right. And there was a Halloween sign outside of his home that said, "I smell children." Ooh, so that's another reason to stay away from Halloween, right? Okay. All right. And then also, Nebraska teacher and boyfriend. So teacher in a public school, by the way, just saying, accused of sex trafficking a high schooler. Now they now she got out. She got out before they were actually able to uh, do anything um, really bad to her. But anyway, let's read this. So there's a kind of happy ending here. A teacher and her boyfriend stand accused of sex trafficking a high school student in Holdridge, Nebraska. The suspects are identified as 36-year-old Elizabeth Jamie Love and 42-year-old Jared Jack Krause. The couple was taken into custody after Holdridge Police Department and several other law enforcement agencies, including the Nebraska State Patrol, began investigating the case, which resulted in an arrest warrant and criminal complaint filed by the Phelps County Attorney's Office. And here, so these are the two bad guys. According to police, Love has been working as a teacher and transition coordinator with ESU 11. ESU 11 is a educational service unit. The Board of Educational Service Unit 11 of the state of Nebraska, so forth, and visionary leadership and quality services. Anyway, they service 13 school districts in Nebraska. Okay. So yeah, and spends time at multiple schools in the state. And she works, I guess, some of those 13 school districts that are served by ASU 11. And course, she's on administrative leave. The investigation began after police say a current high school student that Love was instructing through her employment as a transition coordinator and teacher in the ESU 11 reported inappropriate interactions with the couple over the past few weeks. The charges against Love are one count of sex trafficking. Okay. Okay. The affidavit said on October 11th, Love picked the girl up and took her to Love's home in Holdridge. Now, Love is the woman or the man? Hold on a second here. Let's get this. Okay, it's the woman. Okay, Love is the woman. She's the transition coordinator. Okay, took her to her Love's home in Holdridge. The girl said while she was there, Krause, that's the man, led her to an upstairs bedroom and made a request she thought was for sex. Yeah, that's stated. Okay. The girl said she declined Krause's request and asked if she could leave. The affidavit said he then allowed her to leave the home, which she did, the report noted. So, okay, so this girl was, you know, she wasn't stupid. She wasn't stupid when imagine she trusted this woman, Love, and didn't think much of going to her home, too much anyway. But then this man, Krause, shows up, and Krause leads her to an upstairs bedroom. Okay. So maybe that was where, where maybe she should have turned and run. But anyway, she asked permission if she could leave. You don't need permission, girl. Kick the guy in the balls and run. Anyway, security video reportedly shows the girl walking and Love following her in a vehicle. The alleged victim told authorities the teacher eventually drove her home. The affidavit said the girl told investigators Love apologized to her, told her not to tell anyone, and gave her $100 in $20 increments. In a later interview with the law enforcement, the affidavit said Love told them the money was not intended as hush money that was gifted to the girl to purchase a new cell phone. Okay, it's not hush money, it's a hush phone. It's the same thing. Eh? Oh, my goodness. All right. So then they go into another story where ICE dismantled a criminal illegal alien run human trafficking ring in Nebraska. It happens to be in the same state, so that's why they sort of stuck this on there. That was operating for motels and eyebrow salons in Omaha, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, well, that's a different story. All right. So, yes. So anyway, that one, I guess it more or less had a good ending because the girl got away and the two criminals are in custody. They are in custody there in Nebraska. Right. Nebraska. So, you would think that a rural area like Nebraska, kids might be safe, but no, not at all. Not at all. Satan strikes everywhere. Okay. Satan strikes everywhere. Okay. So, let's see what else is going on. Of course, today, President Trump is in Japan. And let's get the newest on that. I think he just arrived there a moment ago. Japan. Okay. Of course, this week the big the big matchup is Trump versus Xi on Thursday. And there was some preliminary talks in Kuala Lumpur leading up to that talk on Thursday by the lower level officials, and apparently things went well, and they say that basic framework for a trade deal has been worked out, and Xi and Trump just have to get together on Thursday and sort of dot a few I's and cross a few T's and sign the thing, apparently. So let's hope that goes well. That really is that meeting is the heavyweight match for a world championship, right? And if China is allowed to force the world to bow down to it by using its sort of near monopoly on rare earth mineral processing, then that is going to affect the world for decades to come. But if Trump can get China to back off on that, and apparently he has, and Trump is saying that he's also backing off on the 100% tariff that he was threatening to put on China if they went ahead with that rare earth uh, uh, threat. Um, if he's able to do that, if that comes to fruition on Thursday, then it will be very important victory for President Trump. Perhaps I think this meeting with Xi is probably the most important providential event to happen uh, this year since the inauguration of President Trump. And we really need to pray. They're going to meet in Busan, South Korea, on Thursday, and he really needs our prayer that that can be successful. In a way, that's the heavenly archangel versus the satanic archangel, right? Maybe it's a Jacob versus the angel at the fort of Jabbok. I don't know. I guess you could. During the weekend, I was thinking of all sorts of ways to describe that, but it really is important. It really is important that President Trump wrestle with that angel, and I don't know if he can actually get his blessing, but uh, come out victorious. Come out victorious somehow. All right. So let's pray for President Trump. And of course, President Trump has initiated a investigation into how well China has lived up to the promises it made to him in his first administration. And well, of course, we know that they have not. So he's going to be using that perhaps already he's using that as a card. And we'll see. And we hope that the deal includes China importing soybeans from the United States, because soybean farmers in the U.S. are kind of in a bad way right now. So we need to make sure that they get the help that they need. All right. So that's what's going on there. Let's see what's going on with uh, Japan. So it looks like he's going to visit the emperor. Well, okay, that's traditional. Okay. But I guess they haven't actually met yet. Okay, this apparently is being written on U.S. time. Okay. Trump meets with Japanese Emperor. President Donald Trump is in Japan, the second stop on his Asian diplomacy tour, where he visited Emperor Naruhito at Tokyo's Imperial Palace. I guess you already met him, all right. But obviously, that's not the actual photograph there. Okay, that's actually Xi Jinping. Okay, that's not the Japanese flag. That's supposed to be the Chinese flag. Okay, where he visited Emperor Naruhito at Tokyo's Imperial Palace. Maybe they'll give us a photograph later on. On Tuesday, he will meet. Well, it's already Tuesday evening here. Okay, maybe they're meeting now. With he'll meet the Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi, and then, all right. So that's Japan. Okay. So, oh, here we go. Yeah. Looks like we have Reuters has given us a photograph of that meeting with the emperor. Maybe not. Maybe it's coming out slowly. I don't know. Oh, here we go. Kind of a difference in height. Yes. The imperial family in Japan is not known for, right now, that's all that Reuters will show us without paying money. Okay. Yeah, the imperial family in Japan is not known for its height. Okay, yes. Yeah. All right. And then Trump, okay, New York Times says he met the Japanese emperor. And apparently Japan, I guess they imported a bunch of Ford F-150 trucks and lined them up where Trump could see them from his window where he's staying. Hint, hint, hint. I'd like to see a photograph of that, but I guess we We don't see those. Okay. Right. Okay, here we go. Japanese officials are looking at the possibility of buying more American soybeans, liquefied natural gas, and autos. Takaichi may arrange. Okay, so this is may arrange. We don't know that actually happened. For those F-150s to be lined up outside his window. Diplomacy sometimes is just, it's theater, and it is theater, and it is symbolic, and symbols matter. Okay, they matter. And let's see here. Trump leaves for Japan. All right, so okay, all right, so that's what he's doing right now. Perhaps he's looking at those Ford F-150s even as we speak. I don't know. Okay. All right, let's see what else is um, what is this? Epic Times. Yeah, a couple of U.S. aircraft went down into the South China Sea. No casualties. Of course, China's complaining. What are you littering our private ocean for? Right. Keep alive. Okay. And U.S. warship arrives in Trinidad and Tobago amid heightened tensions with Venezuela. There. Mhm. White House Ballroom is a classical, beautiful, and long overdue project. Architects say the Democrats are really complaining about this, and they're thrashing around looking for something that they can get on President Trump, something that their base can talk about. And I guess the newest thing is this ballroom construction. Okay, but here, of course, a major White House renovations through the years. So White House has changed through the years, and you can see some of those changes here. A lot of construction is going on. A lot of it before they invented color photographs, apparently. All right. So, okay. As some historians have noted, however, the $300 million ballroom will join a long line of renovations that, regardless of how they were received at the time of construction, eventually became cherished parts of the building's facade. Okay, very good. Right. And Russia has tested a new nuclear-powered cruise missile, Putin says. And some people are calling this a Chernobyl with wings, I think they're calling it. Yeah, so it's nuclear-powered cruise missile. Calling it a unique weapon. I have received a report from the industry, and I'm aware of the assessments made by the Ministry of Defense. This is indeed a unique weapon that no other country possesses, he said during a visit to a Joint Force Command post, according to a statement released by the Kremlin. Well, yeah, other countries perhaps don't possess it because, you don't want nuclear reactors traveling through the sky and landing in someone's backyard, right? Anyway, that's probably a good reason why other people don't have it. Other people don't have it. Trump says he won't meet with Putin until there's a deal on Ukraine. Mhm. So, but now he's trying to force the issue by, I think he's trying to drive down um, oil prices. And let's take a look. So, let's see, Brent is the international standard. Let's take a look at what's happening with Brent. Okay. So, you know, it's been up. This was what, June of this year, up above 75 to 76 here. When was this? January of this year. So that was just before President Trump's inauguration. It was up above $80. It's certainly come down quite a bit since then. Let's see where it was when President Trump was actually inaugurated. Well, that's January 20th. That's January 20th right there. and it was $79. So from there, it's come down what? Well, anyway, a bunch, right? More than 10%, between about 15% or so, it has come down. And I think President Trump is going to try and reduce it more because basically there is, of course, a cap on Russian oil. They're not supposed to sell it, or people are not supposed to buy it. If they do buy it, they're not supposed to buy it for more than $60 a barrel. But, you know, I don't know. What India apparently does, and Trump has complained about it, is that they buy oil from Russia at $60 a barrel and they sell it on the international market for something higher. And President Trump is complaining that, he's telling India, hey, you guys don't even use the oil that you buy from Russia. You turn around and you flip it. So yeah, that's not good. So anyway, he's been quite critical of India for that reason. Preliminary trade framework. Okay, so that's good. And we'll see what's left. Maybe they'll tell us what's in it. The United States and China have reached a preliminary deal. Okay. Very substantial framework. Okay. Tell us details. Great deal of negotiating leverage. Okay. I believe we've reached a very substantial framework. All right. But details, come on. No details. Okay. China agreed on substantial agricultural purchases for U.S. farmers. All right. Okay. Finally, that's, I guess, something of a detail. Well, that's good. And I suspect that means soybeans, because normally China purchases a lot of soybeans from the U.S. And okay, I believe that they're going to delay the export licensing regime for a year while they re-examine it. Okay, so I guess that's kind of the face-saving measure that China is taking on their rare earth export situation. So if U.S. is going to allow them to delay that for a year and re-examine it and see what happens in a year. Okay. Although Besant didn't disclose details, he said he is confident that when the deal with China is made public, U.S. soybean farmers will feel very good. Right. So yeah. Soybeans. Well, about what's going on, both for this season and coming seasons for several years. Well, China has made promises before. So anyway, the two sides also agreed that Beijing would begin to help the United States with the precursor chemicals for the fentanyl epidemic in the United States, Besant added. Come on, you guys. Demand side. Don't just work on the supply side. Meanwhile, China's Commerce Ministry issued a statement confirming that Vice President He Lifeng had reached an initial consensus after engaging in frank, in-depth, and constructive conversation with Besant and U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer. Okay. All right. Discussed issues including port fees, the extension of the trade truce, fentanyl, agricultural products trade, and export controls, according to the statement published on the website of China's Ministry of Commerce. The two sides agreed to iron out the specific details of the framework and go through their respective internal approval processes, it added. The U.S. position is tough, China's international trade negotiators told reporters in Kuala Lumpur on October 26th. And China and the U.S. had more than a day of very intense discussion, he added. Okay. Trump has expressed high expectations of meeting Chinese leader Xi Jinping next week. Well, actually, this week, Thursday. Don't say next week. Come on. This week, Thursday. The Chinese regime's foreign ministry said earlier this week, apparently this part was written last week, Xi will attend the regional summit in South Korea and hold bilateral meetings with foreign leaders, but wouldn't confirm a sit down with Trump. I think since then, they have confirmed it. Right. So I think these past few paragraphs were written earlier and then didn't get updated for some reason. Okay. All right. Okay. And let's see what else is going on here. Trump oversees signing of Thailand-Cambodia peace deal. All right. Good. And see here, basically, PM confirms direct and frank exchange with CCP leaders after flare incident. This must be the UK, right? No. Oh, okay, this is Australia. Okay. Okay, so Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has confirmed he confronted Beijing. Albanese is the Prime Minister of Australia. Directly and frankly over a recent military incident involving a Chinese jet firing flares dangerously close to an Australian RAAF aircraft over the South China Sea. Okay, good. Alrighty then. Delta and Aeromexico ask court to block Trump order forcing end to joint venture. All right. That's about it. Okay. Charles Murray. Charles Murray, I thought religion was irrelevant to me. I was wrong. Should we take a look at this? It's probably a, is it a video? It's a video. No, no, okay. No, it's a video. Okay, you guys have to watch it yourself. Don't want to get any strikes. All right, so let's go to the Federalist. We haven't been to the Federalist in a long, long time. Let's see here. The left would rather leave White House lawn buried in rubble than allow Trump a tangible victory. Yes. They'll get over it, I'm sure. Okay, New York High Court blocks race grifters. It didn't take long for someone to go to court and attempt to seize control of the president's White House renovation project. Oh my goodness. And everything he does has to go all the way to the Supreme Court. Perhaps this is not an exception. All right. Well, who's doing this? Right. The White House can't fit many people in its walls for special events, so it must pitch a tent about 1 football field away from the building for major functions. Every event capacity is capped at 200 people in the White House East Room. It has been a problem for more than 150 years, according to the Trump administration. Now, Trump is using around $300 million in private money to make the White House more welcoming, and the left is pretty mad about it. Right? Yes, of course. Why, from the left's perspective, it's as bad as terrorists murdering 2,977 people on September 11, 2001. No, that's not what the 9/11 looked like. That's not what happened. Right. The entire east wing of the White House will be modernized and rebuilt to go along with the new ballroom, spanning 90,000 square feet with capacity for 650 guests. If the left could find a legal reason for suing President Donald Trump for breathing, they would already be in court. So, of course, a couple surfaced Thursday night, filing a case at the U.S. District Court in the District of Columbia, seeking a temporary restraining order and other equitable relief. Yes, they would rather see a pile of the East Wing's rubble littering the White House lawn than see the successful construction of the beautiful building depicted in the renderings of the White House shared before it broke ground. Right. Okay. So it's crazy. Well, this is all about power. Okay. That's all it is. It's about power. And they have a base, right? They have the intransigent 42% that we talked about with Biden, right? And they're playing to that base. The base has got to have something. They've got to have something. They don't have much. They don't have much because he's winning. And they know they're going to lose. But in the meantime, at least they give their base something to talk about, something to, keep them from being discouraged. And the base is pretty discouraged right now because they don't like Trump, but more and more people are coming out and saying, hey, you know what? The left is making me conservative. The left is making me Republican. More and more people are saying that. And the intransigent 42% is just pulling their hair out, saying, well, no, come on, give us something, please. And so this is one of the things, right? They know they're going to lose, but you got to have something. I mean, that's what they get paid for. I mean, this is how political donations keep coming in. What are you going to do? Just give up and go home? Well, that is my suggestion, but no one takes my suggestions. All right. So God bless Godspeed. May his kingdom come quickly.